So hello everybody and welcome to my astrology energy update for May 2018, and you will be pleased to know that we're starting the month off on a slightly quieter note after the intensity of April. So well done for surviving that month, which was so intense with all of those, stations retrograde, all of the challenging squares between Capricorn and Aries, that powerful new moon, and of course that really deep soul diving, purging, revealing Scorpio moon that we had on Beltane Eve here in the Northern Hemisphere, and Samhain Eve for you in the Southern Hemisphere. So we are landing in April with a little bit of a cosmic reprieve. So at this point, it would really be beneficial for us to take that time to connect with those Taurian values of grounding, slowing down, coming back into the body, indulging our senses. This is really a time for nurturing ourselves with great food, with luxury, with comfort. We're almost saying, well done. We got through that month of transition. We got through that month of frustration where so many of us, met our shadow selves in such powerful ways. In many ways, we all went through a mini paradigm shift in April, which will continue as Uranus moves into Taurus later this month. But as I say, for this first week or so, we do have a much more denser, richer kind of astrological energy which supports us in doing those Taurian things. So enjoy that brief respite before we jump on the roller coaster again a little bit later this month. Mercury will leave his retrograde shadow on the 3rd of April. So you remember way back when Mercury started his retrograde journey at the beginning of March, the 22nd of March this year, and he's just now creeping past those degrees which he stationed retrograde on. So for many of us, I think this has felt like a prolonged Mercury retrograde period. Mercury retrograde in Aries for many of us has been one of the most challenging ones we've experienced so far. We met our anger, we met our frustration, we really had to push through that energy and work to achieve the things we needed to achieve these past few months. So as he comes out of his shadow period, it's like another veil lifts, and you might find you gain even more clarity around the lessons you've been learning since March the 22nd this year. So really pay attention to the insights that come up for you, and that's particularly true for you if you are an Aries, or if you have planets in Capricorn or Cancer, Libra, the cardinal signs, because the chances are that you may have had very personal collisions with Mercury over that period. So we can all kind of breathe a sigh of relief as the messenger god picks up speed again. Communication becomes a bit smoother, thought process become a little bit smoother. So as he comes out of his shadow, the first order of business for Mercury is to collide with Pluto, the lord of the underworld, still lingering up there in Capricorn, with Mars, with Lilith, with Saturn, this really kind of weighty, oppressive energy that we're all experiencing and will be continuing to experience, for the next couple of years, really. So Mercury will square Pluto, and this day offers us the opportunity to really weed out any thought processes, any limiting beliefs, any negative self-talk that is stopping us from taking the ideas and inspirations we've been offered and grounding them into reality. So just be aware what comes up for you that day. That's a really good day for doing some deep soul diving, for working with those plutonic energies of transformation and rebirth. Shortly after that, the Sun in Taurus is going to make an opposition with Jupiter in Scorpio, and this is going to happen on the 9th of May. And it's something that happens annually, and this year it's really highlighting in a similar way to the Scorpio full moon, that Taurus Scorpio polarity. So like the full moon, it really illuminates that section of our chart where Jupiter has been transiting since last October, and he's been asking us to do some deep soul diving there. You know, he's moving through Scorpio. He's reminding us that to get to the light, we have to go through the shadows. And the Taurus Scorpio polarity is definitely one of intimacy, of sacred relationship, of values, of resources, of how we share our resources with other people, how we honour our financial gifts, and how we honour ourselves in our acts of service. So around this time we can really again do some deep shadow mining and think, you know, how worthy do I feel of receiving love and abundance? Are there any blockages within my energy system? Are there old beliefs that I'm still clinging on to that tell me that I am not worthy or that I am unlovable in some way? So we can really utilize these energies for clearing, for transformation, because we are now in the waning moon cycle as well. So from the 13th to around the 15th of May, we are going to have the waning moon, Mercury and Uranus all conjunct around the final degrees of Aries. So this not only brings culmination to that powerful lunar cycle that began on the 16th of April with the Aries new moon, conjunct Uranus in square to Pluto, just as Chiron changed signs, just as Chiron came into Aries, crossed that Pisces-Aries axis. So it brings culmination to all of those lessons and that very intense lunar cycle, which was really asking us to liberate ourselves, to stand in our power, to claim our individuality and authenticity, echoing the messages that Uranus has been giving us in Aries for the past 7 years. So we're not only culminating that 4-week period, but we're also bringing culmination to the Uranus in Aries 7-year cycle. So Uranus will have been transiting the Aries house of your birth chart for the past 7 years, and he will have been seeking you to liberate, to free yourself from conformity, to free yourself from attachments, and to individuate in that area of your birth chart. He would have been filling it with inspiration, you know, almost electrifying it with activity. And you can read about your Uranus horoscopes actually in the write-up that goes with this post if you want to track it in your personal birth chart. So we are bringing culmination to another 7-year cycle, very similar to what we were doing this time last month as Chiron finished up in Pisces and moved into Aries. So it's a huge shift and a brilliant time for us to really go deep, use the dark moon energy to work with this shift, to really look back on the past 7 years and see what we've learned. What has Uranus been teaching us? How far have we come? Is there anything that we still need to clean up and clear within ourselves, within our energy fields, within our relationships? So we are at this time preparing for the next paradigm shift of Uranus moving into Taurus, which is going to happen on the 15th of May. So Uranus moving into Taurus will be the third in these big shifts that we have been going through since Saturn moved into Capricorn at the winter solstice last year. Last month we had Chiron in Aries, which is a once in every 51 year event. And now on the 15th of May, we have Uranus in Taurus for the first time in 84 years. So for many of us, you know, we won't have seen this before in our lifetime, and we might not see it again. So this is a huge shift for us, both personally and collectively. And when I was tuning into the energy of this month, I really thought of the quote by Paulo Coelho, you know, if you think change is dangerous. Try routine, it is lethal. And for me, that really encapsulates the energy of this shift and the energy that we'll be working with from mid-month onward. Uranus is the storm god. He is the great change bringer. He is unpredictable. He is a wild card energy in the cosmos. Taurus is the first fixed earth sign. He likes, or she likes, should I say, as it's Venus ruled, stability, comfort, security. So we can see here that this is a very alchemical mixture of energies. So Uranus in Taurus for us personally in our birth chart is going to come into an area where we like to feel safe, where we like things to stay the same, and he is going to create upheaval and shifts, especially as he first makes his transition this month. So for all of us, there is going to be huge lessons around letting go of what is familiar, letting go of what is comfortable, and embracing change, because these energies that we are working with as we move into the new paradigm, as we who are the pioneers of the new dawn, they're not going to slow down. We are constantly now going to be on this wheel where we have to change, shift and upgrade, and Uranus and Taurus will be a powerful reminder of that for all of us. So we can look at many shifts happening personally and on the global stage as Uranus moves into Taurus. And one of the major shifts that will be happening is how we relate to our finances, how we relate to our resources, how we relate to money. Taurus rules over prosperity. Taurus teaches us how interlinked our feelings of self-worth and how we value ourselves are with our ability to create abundance. So Uranus is going to come in and he's going to revolutionize the way we think about creating money, the way we support ourselves. So with the stellium working alongside this, in Capricorn working alongside this, we are going to find that many people want to branch out, want to free themselves from the old ways of making money, from the old systems, from the corrupt systems, which Uranus is going to seek to break down, and step into individuation, into providing for themselves. So particularly with the new moon in Taurus happening just after Uranus shifts into the sign of the bull, this is a really good time for all of us who are seeking to build a business, who are seeking to branch out on their own, to offer their gifts and services to the world, to support themselves. This is a great time for you to be thinking about initiating the new and making those changes. But you will have to do some work on yourself, on how you honor yourself, on how you value yourself and what you have to offer to the world. So for those of you who are already in business, who are already self-employed in some way, you may find that you have to change, you have to shift your ways of doing things to align with this new frequency, to align with this new energy that's going to be coming in with Uranus and Taurus. So we may see changes happening in our financial lives that force us to do things in a different way, to force us to break free and individuate. Taurus also speaks to us of the body. Taurus is Venus ruled, like I said earlier, and very connected with the essence of the divine feminine, with the Earth Mother, with the great goddess, with the feminine. So we can really see changes coming in and how we view our bodies, what our standards of beauty are. Uranus is an unconventional energy. If you have a Venus Uranus aspect in your birth chart, you tend to be attracted to things that are not mainstream. So this is, another point in our collective timeline where we can see a shift in beauty standards, working alongside, the deep healing that is going on around the masculine and feminine as Jupiter transits Taurus and Chiron moves through Aries. So we can expect to find new ways of viewing ourselves, new ways of seeing our own beauty, and also new ways of honouring the earth. So this can be a time of great revolution where we really start to stand up and realise and recognise how we are treating this beautiful land that we live on, that gives us life, that nourishes and sustains us. So around this period and throughout Uranus's transit through Taurus, we will be very much more tuned into environmental concerns, and this can even be through strange weather patterns. We might experience unusual occurrences or unexpected shifts in our and other kinds of environmental upheaval. For some of us, as Uranus moves into Taurus, it could feel even like a Kundalini activation, as we have all of this electrical, vibrant, new paradigm, buzzing Uranian energy coming down through our physicality, coming down through our body. So we will literally be embodying and encoding new frequencies into the earth. So this can be a time of huge change and huge transition where we really need to be open to everything, and we really need to be sure that our values are aligning with what we are wishing to build collectively and personally as we play our role in activating the frequencies of the new earth. And this is particularly true when we're setting our intentions at the Taurus full moon, which, like I said, will rise a couple of hours after Uranus moves into Taurus. So at this time of year, we are gifted with this beautiful, fertile new moon in the sign of the bull. And we have Uranus, the bringer of inspiration, newly enclosed in this sign. So we will be receiving downloads, insights, foreshadowings of what we are to build over the coming 7-year cycle. But it's very important that these businesses, offerings, relationships that we set into motion are working for the greater good of all, for the evolution of humanity, and that they are sustainable for Mother Earth. So this is another huge evolutionary shift that's going to be happening at this, the midpoint of May. So on the 16th of May, after we have this shift of Uranus moving into Taurus, Mars, the warrior goddess, is going to move into Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus according to modern astrology. And the first thing that the warrior is going to do is going to make a challenging square to Uranus in Taurus. So this is a rebellious and a revolutionary energy, and at this point Mars is in his pre-retrograde shadow, so he's going to be coming backwards and forwards over these degrees throughout the summer. He's going to square Uranus 3 times. So this again brings us back to that essence of everything changes. If we wish to have personal and collective progress, we have to be willing to change. We have to be willing to do things in a fresh way. Perhaps it's going to be in a way that nobody has ever done it before, but we need to claim our Mars power. We need to claim our individuality and say, no, this is the way that I choose to do things. And from that, we can birth a new reality. On the global stage at this time, we could see, a lot of activism, a lot of people again rising up and saying, we won't stand for this. We won't stand for the way that you're treating Mother Earth. We want equality. We want equal rights in all areas, in all of the ways that we can possibly express ourselves. We want to be allowed to express ourselves in those ways. So during his journey, Mars is going to be moving through the sign of the rebel, through Aquarius, dipping back into the sign of Capricorn, the sign of the old order, the sign of what we often call the patriarchy. So it's almost, you know, Uranus moves into Taurus, Mars comes along and squares him, and the waves of revolution begin to start. This is really going to be a precursor to what we're going to be learning over this 7 years with Uranus and Taurus, and also as Capricorn, as Saturn comes through Capricorn to collide with Pluto in early 2020. So what we are seeing now is kind of the crumbling of the empire, the dissolution of the old. The image I really received with these energies is the Tower card in Tarot, which shows a tower, a solid tower that those people in power thought was safe and secure. And it gets hit by lightning and the foundations are struck. The foundations are smashed and the old reality begins to crumble, and that's what we're really seeing here. So for many of us, we may be in that space, you know, somewhere between the old and the new, as you know, with all of these seismic shifts that have been happening since last December. The ground is constantly shifting underneath our feet. We're constantly having to adapt, to change, to realign with the new energy, with the new information that is coming. Like I've said lots of times, the way that we've been doing things before just no longer works. And this month, you know, that is even more the case, you know. The fact that we have to step out of our comfort zones, step beyond what we have always done, is going to become very, very apparent. And as the month moves on, we could definitely be seeing more of the wounds between the masculine and the feminine, the wounds of the feminine herself that she is working to heal, rising up, another layer peeling off. And I know it seems like we're talking about this all the time at the moment, but this is what the energy is reflecting. And every time we have one of these alignments, similar to the ones we'll be having throughout the last couple of weeks of May, we go down another layer, we heal another part of ourselves, we call back another old soul fragment. So shortly after Mars moves into Aquarius, we have Lilith coming up to meet Pluto in Capricorn, and this only happens once every 8 years and 10 months. So we've got this kind of wild feminine energy coming up against the Lord of the underworld. So both Lilith and Pluto see beyond the veil. They see deep into the soul, deep into the psyche. So this is a time when we can really look again within ourselves and see, what am I still holding on to? What wounding am I holding on to still? Am I still feeling anger and rage at the forces that try to dominate our world? Am I still feeling, you know, the fear around being controlled, being suppressed? And of course this energy will also speak to us of our sexual wounding, of what we feel we desire, you know. And again, Lilith, like the revolutionary energy we've been talking about with Aquarius and Uranus, will seek freedom. So we're going even deeper with that as the month progresses. And shortly after these two collide, Venus is going to leave Gemini, where she's been for the past month, and she's going to come into Cancer. So Venus in Cancer is the archetype of the great nurturing mother of water. She is deep, she's emotional, she's sensitive. She tunes us in with the cycles of our body, with the lunar cycles. So traditionally, you know, this can be quite a healing transit, but this year, Venus in Cancer is going to, first of all, make a square to Chiron, which will teach us how to bring healing, how to bring tenderness to our inner child, you know, to heal those painful wounds that we may have experienced growing up. So that will be her first order of business, will be to take us into that deep territory. And then as she journeys through Cancer, of course, she's going to oppose all of these planets in Capricorn. So we have an opportunity here to really look at how the Divine Mother and the Divine Father are balanced in our world and in ourselves, and to do the deep healing work. There could be issues around this time of how, you know, the feminine, the emotional self, whether we're male or female, you know, has to be suppressed in order to, you know, live in this controlled patriarchal world that we live in. It can bring up deep wounding around our childhood, around issues we have with our parents. So again, you know, we're going into the deep depths as we head towards the end of the month. Luckily, some light relief will come in the form of the sun moving into Gemini on the 20th. So at this time of year, when the sun does move into the sign of the shapeshifter, there really is, you know, an electrical buzz in the air, especially here in the northern hemisphere. We're heading towards the solstice, the energetic high point of the year. Those of you in the southern hemisphere are going down towards the winter solstice and the rebirth of the light. So there's a lot of activity going on, and you know, the sun in Gemini is going to be really helpful for us this year, because Gemini really echoes the energy of Aquarius, of Uranus, very airy vibrations that teaches us all about flexibility. You know, Gemini can get a little bit of a bad rap sometimes in the astrological community, because Gemini is constantly changing. You know, it's a very quicksilver, it's mercurial energy, you know, and to signs that are more geared towards stability, Gemini can be a challenging energy for us to embrace. But this year in particular, we need to have the adaptability of Gemini. We need to be able to think outside the box, to be able to see both sides of situations, and it really helps, you know, lift us out of the density and the emotional stuff that's going on with Venus in Cancer, challenging all of those Capricorn planets as well. So we head into Gemini season, and the part of our chart that is ruled over by Gemini is illuminated, and we are encouraged to share, to talk, to connect, to teach and learn, to come into community, to gather ideas and to work together, which is really going to be one of the foundations of, you know, the new earth that we are building as well. So we are very grateful for Gemini during May 2018. So on the 23rd of May, the ruler of Gemini, Mercury, is going to follow suit as the sun did on the 9th of May, you know, earlier this month, and he's going to oppose Jupiter in Scorpio. And, you know, this is almost like we are going back and we're saying, oh, Jupiter, you know, you've been illuminating this part of my birth chart. Is there any other messages that you need to give to me? Is there any more truths that need to be revealed? Are there any more self-sabotaging belief systems around my value and around my worth that I am still holding on to and harboring that need to be let go of before I can move forward at this time? So he's going to pick up, you know, some more signs, omens, messengers from Jupiter before joining the sun in Gemini later on in the month. And the 25th of May brings us some really beautiful energy and some much needed respite from all of this kind of electrical, airy vibration that we've been dealing with since Uranus moved into Taurus, as Neptune in Pisces and Jupiter in Scorpio make the second of their trine alignments of the cycle that they're currently in. So this is a really beautiful, flowing, harmonious, spiritually expansive energy that can help us to bring healing to those issues that Venus in Cancer is churning up. On this day, around this time, Venus is actually going to be opposing Saturn. So we can really look at how we can heal, dissolve, bring unconditional love and compassion into those wounds of childhood. How can we dissolve that emotional armor that we have been wearing as a form of self-protection? You know, how much more deeply can we go into that energy of self-love, of nourishing, of nurturing ourselves like the Great Mother would? So this is a time of healing and of blessings. Wherever this is affecting you in your chart, it's going to be a very easy flow of energy. So we may see some beautiful spiritual insights coming through, you know, the ability to see the problems and issues that you've been struggling with through eyes of divine love. We can also see, you know, blessings of abundance perhaps coming down through Jupiter. So this is a really nice way to close the month, especially as in the final few days of May, Venus in Cancer is going to come and create a trine to Jupiter and Neptune. So this is an opportunity for tuning into that frequency of divine love, for receiving emotional healing, for, you know, calling forth spiritual sustenance. You know, this is a time of coming together in joy and celebration, especially as we approach the solstice full moon in Sagittarius, which is coming up at the end of the month. And that Sagittarius full moon will be taking us into our truth, into our authenticity again, echoing, you know, the profound lesson that we will be receiving on a soul level this month, which is loving ourselves exactly as we are, for our uniqueness, for our individual role that we have to play in the evolution of humanity, for honouring our time, our gifts, our resources. So this could be, again, another electrifying month where huge changes could happen quite fast, things that we're not expecting. And the thing to remember with Uranian energy as well, that although he is unpredictable, so he will, in whatever way serves best, move us out of our comfort zone. So we could win 1 million, we could lose 1 million. We could break up with our partner to meet the love of our life the next day. We never know how his energy is really going to affect us, so we have to be open. We have to be willing to go beyond, to move beyond our stagnancy, to move beyond our desire to cling, to hold on emotionally, to hold on physically. And, you know, just allow the old to fall away so that we can step into the person that we are meant to be. So I hope that this video serves you. For those who don't know me, my name's Maria, and I do a lot of astrology writing on my Facebook page, which the link is below for. So thank you for connecting with me, and I will see you again soon.